Stop scrolling right now. You are looking at the most insane footage ever captured on a smartphone. This isn't a movie. This isn't some high-budget CGI leak from a studio. This is my actual life for the last few months, and it is absolutely terrifying. It all started on a night so dark and so violent, with rain that you could barely see your own hands in front of your face. I was walking through the industrial district, just trying to get home, taking a shortcut through the back alleys behind the old warehouses. The wind was howling like a ghost, and the street lamps were flickering, buzzing with a sick electric sound. That's when I heard it. A tiny, high-pitched, desperate whimper coming from a mountain of wet trash behind a rusted-out blue shipping container. I thought it was a dying animal, so I moved the cardboard, and my heart literally stopped in my chest. There he was, a tiny, shivering ball of electric blue fur with huge, glowing yellow eyes that looked directly into my soul. It was a Baby Huggy Wuggy. He was soaking wet, vibrating with fear, and starving. I didn't see a monster. I didn't see a threat. I saw a baby that was freezing to death in the mud. I didn't think twice. I grabbed my jacket, wrapped him up like a little blue burrito, felt his tiny heart racing like a drum against my chest, and I ran home as fast as my legs could carry me, praying that nobody saw what I was carrying in my arms.
The first few days at home were pure, unadulterated madness. Imagine bringing a cryptid into a modern apartment. He was terrified of everything. The sound of the toaster popping up made him hit the ceiling. The light from the TV made him hiss. And he even tried to fight his own shadow in the hallway. But then, he tasted milk for the first time, and it was like a switch flipped. We became inseparable. I named him Huggy, and man, let me tell you, he really earned that name. But then the nightmare started. Well, the growing nightmare. He didn't stay small for long. Within just 3 weeks, he went from the size of a kitten to the size of a full-grown golden retriever. He was eating me out of house and home.
We're talking 10 giant boxes of cereal every single day.
His arms were growing at an impossible rate, becoming long and flexible like rubber hoses. He could reach the top of the refrigerator while sitting on the floor. He turned my entire house into a giant, fuzzy jungle gym, swinging from the ceiling fans, crawling through the air vents, and hiding in the kitchen cabinets. I had to hide him from the neighbors, so we invented a game called the stealth game. Every time a car drove past our window, I'd yell, "Freeze!" and he would turn into a perfect, motionless blue statue. He was so good at it that even the mailman thought he was just a weird, oversized plushie I bought on the internet.
You guys have no idea how stressful it is to live with a 2-meter-tall blue monster who thinks he's still a lapdog. One night, I was sitting on the couch trying to edit my last video, and Huggy decided he wanted to cuddle. He sat on the sofa and, crack, the whole wooden frame just snapped like a toothpick. We both ended up on the floor, covered in springs and foam, and he just looked at me with those giant eyes like, did I do that? I couldn't even be mad at him. I had to go out and buy a heavy-duty industrial reinforced mattress just so he could sleep comfortably. But the real challenge was the neighbors. My neighbor, Mrs. Gable, is the most curious woman on the planet. One day she knocked on the door because she heard strange booming sounds coming from my living room. I had to hide Huggy in the bathroom, but he's so big his blue ears were sticking out over the shower curtain. I told her I was just doing some extreme home renovation. I think she believed me, but I could tell she was suspicious. We started spending our nights watching movies together. Huggy's favorite? Anything with lots of bright colors. When he gets excited during an action scene,
He starts humming this low, vibrating sound that makes the windows rattle. It's like living with a giant organic subwoofer. I started teaching him how to use a tablet, and believe it or not, he's actually cracked the top score on 3 different mobile games. He's a genius, I'm telling you. But every time I looked at him, I saw him staring at the window, watching the birds fly by. He wanted to go outside. He wanted to be free. And that broke my heart because I knew that the world outside wasn't ready for someone like him. Not yet. I spent those weeks upgrading the garage, making it a fortress. But deep down, I had this sinking feeling in my gut. The air felt heavy. The birds stopped singing in my backyard. It was the calm before the storm, and I knew our peaceful little life was about to be shattered into a million pieces.
As Huggy continued to grow,
He started showing this unbelievable, almost human intelligence. I'm a total car enthusiast, and Huggy decided he wanted to be my lead mechanic. He absolutely loved the garage. With those long, spider-like arms, he could reach deep into the engine block of my cars to grab bolts and wires that I couldn't even see with a flashlight. He helped me hold the heavy, rusted body panels while I worked on my custom Cybertruck restoration. We were a perfect team, but the bigger he got, the more impossible it became to keep our secret safe from the world. One sunny afternoon, I looked up and saw it. A high-tech surveillance drone with the red and white Playtime Company logo hovering directly over my backyard. My stomach dropped into my shoes. They found us. Within minutes, I saw 3 black armored SUVs pulling up at the end of the street. Men in tactical gear were coming to take my best friend away and put him back in a cage. I didn't hesitate for a second. I grabbed my car keys, screamed at Huggy to jump into the back of the truck, and we smashed through the wooden fence at 60 miles per hour. The chase was officially on, with sirens wailing behind us and helicopters closing in from above. We drove like lunatics for hours, pushing the truck to its absolute limit as we headed deep into the mountains, searching for the only place I knew where we could hide: the old abandoned Playtime Company factory. The agency was right on our heels with thermal cameras and spotlight helicopters. We ditched the truck in a ravine and scrambled inside the dark, rusted, decaying halls of the facility. This was Huggy's true element. In the pitch black, he wasn't the scared baby anymore. He moved like a silent blue shadow, faster than the human eye could track. He didn't want to hurt the soldiers, but he was protective. He swung through the iron rafters, disabling their night vision gear and pulling the main power lines to leave them in total darkness. Deep in the basement, we stumbled into an old nursery filled with rusted cribs and broken toys. Huggy found a small, dusty toy train and just stopped. He stared at it for a long time, and I realized this was the exact room where he was created. This was his origin. I knew then that running wasn't enough. I pulled out my phone, bypassed the signal jammers, and started a worldwide live stream right there. I showed millions of people the truth, that Huggy was a gentle, feeling soul, not some monster experiment. The internet exploded instantly. The hashtag #FreeHuggy went viral in minutes, trending #1 globally. The massive public pressure forced the agency and the military to back down. We walked out of that factory not as fugitives, but as heroes. But as we were walking through the forest toward our new life, Huggy heard a familiar sound in the thick bushes. He reached down with his massive blue hand and pulled out a tiny, shivering ball of bright pink fur. It was her, Kissy Missy. We brought her home, and history started all over again. But this time, Huggy was the experienced big brother. He shared his favorite blankets and taught her how to hide in the house. Kissy was a total wild card. She would climb the walls like a lizard and hang from the ceiling, making us all burst out laughing. Seeing them together, the blue and the pink, was the most heartwarming thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. They weren't just science experiments anymore. They were my family. We opened Playtime Park, a safe sanctuary where children could finally meet them without any fear. Huggy and Kissy became symbols of peace and kindness across the globe. Of course, the agency tried to interfere one last time, sending black helicopters to surround our home, but we stood our ground together. We showed the world that love and loyalty are stronger than any weapon. They finally left us alone for good. As I look at the sunset today, I realize that by saving Huggy that night in the rain, I actually saved myself. He gave me a purpose I never had. Our family is still growing, and the adventure is just beginning. Huggy, turn to the camera and wave. Blow them a kiss. Remember, guys, kindness can change even the scariest fate. Thank you for being part of this legendary journey. But wait, what was that orange flash in the bushes just now? I think Boxy Boo just arrived. See you in the next movie.